Food as life and inspiration. Sometimes inspiration comes to me in the middle of the night, in forms of food and senses. Every year after Thanksgiving, I make a stock out of what's left over from the turkey. And last night, I had dreams of a turkey pho, and I pulled out my jar of spices, and I roasted my onion and my ginger, and the bones of the turkey are already in the large stock pot. Let's try something new. Can you smell it? It's glorious. When sharing my recipe, I will rarely tell you the units of measurement. I don't really believe in measuring when it comes to cooking. I like a balance of flavors, so knowing the flavors of the cinnamon, the star anise, the coriander seeds, and the cloves, I just drop them in. Putting them on heat releases the aromas. Kind of metaphoric for us as well, how we change. I love small items, and repurposing it brings me so much joy. And look, I'm using this as a little spice holder. Once it gets charred, it means it's almost ready. Now you don't want to keep the charred parts because that's going to make the broth really bitter. So once they're ready, remove them from the fire and let's scrape off the burnt edges and the burnt parts just like this with a really sharp knife. What you want left is just the steaming ginger or the steaming onion without the charred flavors. Like this. We should be resourceful and use all the parts of an animal. And anything that's not used should become compost for the gardens and the things that we grow. We should be mindful. Now it's time for the magic. The onion, the ginger, the bag of spices, and just let it boil. This is rock sugar. We use rock sugar to keep the flavors balanced, has a little bit more depth, and of course, fish sauce. Always fish sauce. We're going to let the noodles soak in the warm water until it softens. And then we're going to start another pot of water. We're going to bring it to a boil. And while serving, we'll put handfuls of the noodles into the boiling pot to further cook the noodles. So everything that we're putting into the pho is stuff that we've already had in the fridge. Basil, sliced onions, and leftover turkey meat. Take a handful of the soft noodles and bring it to a boiling. It should be nice and soft. Make sure to taste it. Now let's taste the broth. Add more salt if needed. Add more fish sauce if needed. And add more rock sugar if needed to create the balance and the depth. So there's a lesson here. This recipe, it's not about what we don't have or what we're searching for, but what we have right in front of us, right under our noses, that if we just took the time, we can see it and find the best way to use it. squeeze in the lemon and take a deep breath and marvel at what you have made out of seemingly nothing, because everything in our lives is something, and what we make of it is